a wonderful community filled with many hardworking families in hopes that one day they will prosper. It was in that lively community that I was introduced to the Boys and Girls Club and began my journey to success. Like many children at Cambridge Park, I grew up with just one parent, which meant that my mother had to work 2 jobs to make ends meet. However, sometimes that wasn't even enough to put food on the table. Since my mom couldn't speak English at the time, she was limited to working in factories paying only minimum wage, forcing her to seek help from the state and the Salvation Army. Because I was not the only child, sometimes we couldn't even afford to buy the necessary materials for school. Fortunately, caring organizations like the Bristol Boys and Girls Club, with support from the Bristol Housing Authority and Valley Bank, as well as many others, had provided me with the resources I was lacking. As a result, the Boys and Girls Club became my second home. Most days after school, I would go to the Power Hour, where I was continuously challenged to receive assistance with my homework. During this time, I was constantly reminded of the importance of hard work and responsibility. When I was at the club, I felt a sense of belonging and usefulness. I felt a sense of competence, but most of all, I felt a sense of power and influence. The Boys and Girls Club kept me focused and involved with the community. Through programs like Torch Club and Smart Moves, for instance, I learned how to be a leader and say no to the negative substances that sometimes surrounded us. The Boys and Girls Club has instilled many of the values that I hold today and provided me with the necessary tools to keep moving forward. Now here I stand, a junior at Central Connecticut State University and an employee at Valley Bank. Had it not been for the tremendous joint efforts of the trained youth development professionals from the club and my mother, I would not be in the position that I am today. Thanks to you, I will someday reach my goals of receiving an MBA and opening my own business. Now I would like to welcome Michael Sushapar to the stage. He's the Chief Professional Officer of the Boys and Girls Club and the Family Center.
Thank you, Jolimar. I have to say, Valley Bank is one of my favorite organizations in the city because of all the wonderful things they've done for us. But my favorite part of going to Valley Bank has always been to see Jolimar, because she's always smiling, she's always happy, and you can always tell there's a spirit in her that's really moving and touching. And you can see it in her eyes when she's at the teller's office, and I loved her from the day I met her, and I didn't even know when I met her that she was one of our Youth of the Year. So a round of applause again for Jolimar. I would like to take the time to thank everybody for coming this evening, where we celebrate a lot of anniversaries, because this is not just 100 years of the club. This year we celebrate 85 years of our Older Members Association. The older members here are a group of gentlemen that I love dearly because they love this club dearly. And they have left a legacy for us that will last on forever. We celebrate 80 years of the Family Center, which is an organization that I think many of you grew up in and felt the love that's inside the walls of the Family Center as well. And of course we celebrate 100 years of the Boys and Girls Club. It's the end of our first century and hopefully the beginning of our second. But what I want to do before I say a few words is I want to recognize our sponsors, of which we have many, which is, when you're in my position, you always like to have lots of sponsors. You like to have lots of big sponsors. First of all, I want to thank ESPN. ESPN, you know, all spans the globe and touches millions and millions and millions of people. And they make the world a lot smaller because they bring information to everyone. I think the thing you have to recognize about ESPN is that even though it thinks about the globe, it thinks about the community that it comes from. And I have never met probably a more successful organization that cares more about the community in which it lives and is willing to support not only us, because I feel thankful and blessed that they support us, but they support lots of other agencies. And as they touch all the people around the world, they make our community a better community, and I thank them for being our presenting sponsor. Our VIP sponsor is Farmington Savings Bank. Now, Farmington Savings Bank knows our financial history probably better than they want to, because they've been with us in good times and they've been with us in bad times. But they've also always supported us and come through and given us a chance to really further our mission. And if it wasn't for them, we would not be able to touch the lives of so many children. And I want to thank them for being our VIP sponsors. I'm not too loud, so I'll just wait for that. I hope you all had a chance to take a look at the 100 Heroes board back there, because that's being sponsored by our Older Member Association. That's where we sort of capture some of the stars of this organization. But the OMs are our heroes. I think every single OM that we have is a hero for this organization. And they've left a legacy that will live on for years and years, and I thank them for their tireless support of our organization. Thank you to the OMs. I want to thank an organization, Quality Coil, and the Gibson brothers are here. They've got more tables than anybody in this organization, and what they've really done, and I was just speaking to Mark, how they have decided to target much of their giving towards some select organizations. We are blessed to be one of those. Not only do they support us now, but they have repeatedly supported us in the past. And by doing that, they have committed themselves to touching the lives of many people. So I thank Quality Coil for being one of our sponsors. And I also want to thank Valley Bank. I can honestly say, from the bottom of my heart, that if it was not for the leadership and the support that has come from Valley Bank, that this organization would not be in a position of strength that it has right now. Valley Bank and its employees and its senior management are the type of people I can pick up the phone anytime and ask for assistance, and it's there within moments. Their dedication is admirable. I thank them for being sponsors, but I thank them for being an organization that supports and loves the children of our community. Thank you to Valley Bank. And then very quickly, we have sponsors who have sponsored the children who are here. We have a lot of kids here, which is something new for this event, because we have not had many kids at the humanitarian dinner. But what I do want to do is thank Yard Metals, who sponsored the kids from Cambridge Park. I want to thank the Ultimate Companies. I want to thank Scott Fournier from Shannon's Jewelers, Joe Nazo, Jackie Bracco, Lake Compounds, and I believe that's all of them. I thank you for bringing the kids here, because we are ultimately about the kids. So thank you, everyone. I have to introduce the movie that we're going to be showing in a few minutes, and before I do that, I just want to say something about our anniversaries. And I start it with just one small phrase, that the future of our organization rests in this very moment, in this room right now, that has been given to us by the people of the past. The future of our organization lies in the moment that has been given to us by the past. Tonight we honor those people from the past who started this organization. In 1908, Mrs. Carlisle Barnes recognized that all kids have struggles, and all kids have issues that they have to work through in their lives. They struggle for self-esteem. They struggle for people that they can trust and people that trust them. They struggle for recognition. They struggle to feel like they belong somewhere. And every single kid, all of you know, has issues with feeling loved enough and issues about being able to give love. Those were the issues in 1908 that Mrs. Carlisle Barnes saw in kids. And she broke out of the mold and basically said, I'm going to do something different. And she decided to create a boys' club. Sounds commonplace to us now, but to have a boys' club in 1908 was a bit of a radical idea. Hard to believe, but it was a bit of a radical idea. And what she did was she started the spark of love in that organization that's been passed on from decade to decade to decade, to generation to generation to generation. And somehow that spirit that she started was so strong that we could go through world wars and it still kept going. We could go through recessions and that spirit kept going. We can go through turbulent times and that spirit kept going until it's here at this moment in this room. We're here because of not only 100 heroes, we're here because of 100 times 100 times 100 heroes. We will never be able to recognize everyone who has helped us. But everybody who has ever helped us lives in this room at this moment. And I can even show you how they do that. I would really like the following people to please stand up as I call them. I would like all the staff of the Boys and Girls Club and Family Center that's here to please stand up. Stay standing, please. I would like all the board members, both present and past, to please stand up also. I would like all our younger members who are happy because they're out late and probably not doing homework, but I would like them all to please stand up as well. I would like all our older members who are older and tired and probably would rather be in bed right now, for them to please stand up if they can. And then I would like all of you who have ever been a member of the Boys and Girls Club or the Family Center or any Boys and Girls Club in the state to please stand up as well. What I said, please stay standing. Rosa, stay standing. See, she's older. She wants to sit down. What I honestly say to you is that spirit that started 100 years ago has been passed on through individuals, through generations, through decades that have passed, and it lives inside of each and every one of you. Somehow it's hard to capture the past, but that spirit lives inside of these people, all of these people standing. And that spirit is the spirit that's going to propel us for another 100 years. And the only way I can applaud the past and applaud our hope for the future is to applaud these people that are standing right here that embody the past. I ask for a large round of applause for all these people and the people of the past. So, we move on to our movie that Tom Mazzarella made, which I think you're going to absolutely love. I want to tell you something about this movie. We started off, and what we were going to do was chronicle a lot of our history. And we found that if we did that, we'd probably be showing that movie for a long, long time, right, Tom? So we decided to make a short version, and then we'll show a long version sometime around Christmas time for people to see. But you have to know that this movie represents not only who we are, but where we have to go. And I hope you sit back and enjoy it. Thank you. Wow. My heartfelt thanks to Tom Mazzarella. Much appreciated, Tom. I've spoken about ESPN, and I will not go on and on about ESPN, but I'm honored to have them as a partner. And I'm actually honored to know the lady that I'm going to introduce next, Rosa Gotti, who's the senior VP at ESPN. I have to tell you one very small anecdote with Rosa. Rosa and I met once for lunch, and we started talking about an hour and a half, and I thought, I love this lady. She could be my friend. I think I want to have her at the house. I want to talk. And then I'm sitting there thinking, But I don't get how she's a senior VP at ESPN, because she just seems too nice. And all of a sudden, we switch gears into the business side of things, and Rosa pulls out this pad and shifts into this whole different personality. And within 10 minutes, I'm thinking, I know how this woman's the senior VP of ESPN. I would like to just introduce Rosa, who has a few comments that she'd like to make. Thank you.
Yes. You don't see me on certain days, Michael. But I am really honored to be here with all of you, and that was a wonderful video. I saw some budding Sports Center anchor there, and the MC work, the Master of Ceremonies. I think, look out, Stuart Scott, Linda Cohn. Congratulations to Jackie Bracco. I don't know where she's sitting, our colleague from ESPN, but her contributions to the community over a few decades, and also what she grew on that campus, what you see today in Bristol, that is a long-lasting tribute to Jackie Bracco. So congratulations, Jackie, from all of us at ESPN. Bob Piandello, congratulations to you, Brian, Roxanne, everyone involved with the Boys and Girls Club and Family Center, and Michael Suchapar. The passion that I see, not only in the old members, but also in these young children, makes this all worthwhile and rewarding. Now, John, you said you think the program will go to 9:30. Well, I've been thinking about my Phillies tonight in the World Series. But as I was coming here today, I thought, you know, I'm reminded of the good lessons that sports teach us, the rallying together, the teamwork, and you really see that in something like the World Series. And sports have often raised the awareness of diversity, of people, and of cultures. At ESPN, this is really important, the diversity of our employees, because we want to serve our diverse fans from around the world, as Michael mentioned. Including people and helping them succeed is a top priority of ours. And we are so delighted to join forces with the Boys and Girls Club. And with all of this in mind, sports and diversity, I am pleased on this 100th anniversary celebration to announce on behalf of ESPN's president, George Bodenheimer, Team ESPN, all of our volunteers, that ESPN plans to renovate the athletic fields of Cambridge Park for the future growth of our youth. Thank you. You'll see us all out there en masse and with our commentators.
Well, it seems like we're on the national scene. I mean, we have ESPN here, and we also happen to have the president of Boys and Girls Clubs of America here. And I can't tell you what an honor that is to know that we get that support from people like ESPN, from companies around the city, from the individuals here. But for Roxanne to come is truly a tribute. Those of you may or may not know that there are over 4,300 Boys and Girls Clubs in this world. We're probably one of the biggest youth service agencies to touch the globe. We touch approximately the lives of approximately 5 million people. Now, I have to say to you that in all honesty, if you have 5 million people who share certain values, share certain ethics and morals, and if they're all sharing them at the same time, the world changes a little bit. That's a big piece of weight, 5 million people. And I think Roxanne's mission and her leadership is helping change the world. And it's helping making the world a better place for children. I am pleased to introduce, and she's a lovely lady. I spent the entire afternoon with her. She's just lovely. And I want to introduce Roxanne Splett, the president of Boys and Girls Clubs of America.
No, I won't need that little stool behind me. I think I was born 5'4". But anyway, hey, I am so glad to be here. I had such a great day today, visiting the club, spending a little time with kids, spending time with staff, spending time with Michael, who you are very fortunate to have a great leader here, and he is going to make sure that things happen here along with you for this great Boys and Girls Club. But you know, I've been around for such a long time. I have a 30-year career in the Boys and Girls Club movement, and I've been in the role of president since 1995. I have probably seen well over 2,500 Boys and Girls Clubs, and the experience I had today, I will remember forever, and I want to tell you why. But first of all, the one thing that I'm convinced of as I travel around the country, meet with clubs, visit clubs, meet with donors and staff, is that there's something called the American way that really makes this country great and really makes this country strong. And boy, is it alive and well here in Bristol. It's all about good people coming together around a good idea to make their community a better place for children. And you know, so many of our clubs were started in living rooms because somebody saw a need and brought together people from the community and said, we've got to do better than this for our children. And that's what happened here in Bristol, Connecticut, 100 years ago. A visionary woman brought people together and said, we can do better for our children in this community of Bristol. That is the American way, and that is, I believe, what makes America great, and what I believe will help us through whatever crisis we face today, tomorrow, in the future. The American way is what makes this country great, and it's what makes this Boys and Girls Club movement so great. So I thank you. I thank you to the board members, to the donors, and ESPN. Yay! What a great gift. I was there at Cambridge Park today, and that is going to be fabulous. So thank you all for what you've given to this movement over the years. The organization is in a great place, and I think because 100 years ago somebody had that vision, and because for 100 years people like you have been supporting this institution, and here we are 100 years later. And what you have is miraculous. And I know you have 9 or 10, I should say, clubs in public schools. I know you have the traditional Boys and Girls Club unit, but I visited 2 of your facilities today. One was the Imagination Museum, okay? I visited 2,500 clubs. I know clubs probably better than most people in America. That's probably an understatement. But I gotta tell you, I have never seen a Boys and Girls Club museum. Not only that, I've never really seen a museum like I saw today. I saw creativity, I saw energy, I saw learning, and I saw a bunch of kids, not one of them without a smile. It made me feel so good that we have such innovation here and such a great opportunity for young people, not just to have fun, but to learn about science, to learn about technology, to learn about broadcasting, to explore things. Did you ever see that bubble machine? You know, you got to see this, but if nothing else, go down and see that bubble machine. It is remarkable, and every kid who's surrounded by that bubble, and for those of you who know what I'm talking about, they have the time of their life for that couple of minutes they're in the middle of that bubble. And you know what? When their bubble bursts, they go right back and build another bubble. And you'll see it if you go down there. It's really remarkable. I was very proud of what I saw today and very proud of the innovation and something I'll talk about in the Boys and Girls Club movement. And from there, we went to Cambridge Park. And I have this deep belief that we should be in public housing. I have this deep belief that we have 500 clubs today in public housing, but I don't believe that that's enough, and I don't believe we should stop until every public housing development in the United States has a Boys and Girls Club. I've seen what it does, I've seen its potential, and I believe that's a place, one place we need to be. Well, I walked into Cambridge Park, which is not a big facility, But I will tell you, I was so impressed with all the kids there. I was totally impressed with Jay and all the staff there, and David. It just did good for my heart. And you know, I sat around with the kids and I said to them, you know, how many of you are thinking of, you know, graduating from high school? You know, all of their hands went up. How many of you think, well, maybe you'd want to do something like go to college? All of their hands went up. They want to be everything from engineers to lawyers to doctors to structural engineers to broadcasters to athletes. They have hopes and dreams. These young people who come from a community where there's lack of opportunity have such high hopes and great dreams, and the only explanation for that in the world is because of the Boys and Girls Club and the great staff in that club. I was totally impressed. I felt like this personifies what we are all about, not just here in Bristol, but all across America. And in that club and in all your clubs, I know you are changing and saving lives. And what happened in Bristol 100 years ago happened across the country, and some were before you, not many, but most were after you. And in 2006, the Boys and Girls Club movement celebrated its centennial, its 100 years, and I know many of you were there in Boston with us. But you know, we are a movement that is all about hopes and dreams for our kids and for our country. And you know, it was President Hoover in the 1960s that had a dream, and his dream was that there would be 1,000 boys, at the time, boys clubs across America. And sure enough, in 1964, we opened our 1,000th Boys and Girls Club in Indianapolis, Indiana. And then there was another man several years later. His name was Jeremiah Milbank. Jeremiah Milbank was the chairman of Boys and Girls Clubs of America and a devoted human being who believed very deeply and dedicated his life to Boys and Girls Club. He challenged us to get to 2,000 clubs. And in 1998, we celebrated our 2,000th Boys and Girls Clubs. Colin Powell, who was on our board, was there to dedicate our 2000th club, the Andre Agassi Boys and Girls Club. And he was so excited about what he saw there, he challenged us to get to 3,000 clubs. And in 2001, I'm proud to say, we opened our 3,000th club in Camden, New Jersey. And in 2006, for our centennial, our 4,000th Boys and Girls Club in Houston, Texas. All of this happened because good people come together around a good idea to make their community a better place for children. And I will tell you this, we survey our alumni because our reach is not a measure of our success, but our impact is. What difference, we ask, did the Boys and Girls Club make in your life? The Boys and Girls Club taught me right from wrong. The Boys and Girls Club kept me out of trouble with the law. 28% said that if not for the Boys and Girls Club, I would have never graduated from high school. 57% said the Boys and Girls Club saved my life. 57% said the Boys and Girls Club saved my life. So if you go back 100 years and you think about a visionary woman who had a dream, she made that happen, and good people keep coming around to make Bristol a better place for its children. And I'd like to thank you, the staff, the board, Michael, Kit, for your leadership, for your generosity, and tell you that you've built a great institution, but the best is yet to come. Thank you very much.
Rosa forgot something, so.
Roxanne, that was great. The reason I was fidgety down there, I was given an assignment just before I got up here to introduce Mother Sean Vergowan, who I've had the pleasure of working with her for many years. The sisters located to Meriden, Connecticut, the Franciscan Sisters of the Eucharist, and I know that she will forgive me for forgetting to. She will be giving the invocation. So while we're eating, Mother Sean, would you please come up and give the blessing? Thank you. And ask the Lord to forgive me too. Mother Sean has that same spirit and passion that you see in Michael for the community. They provide numerous services for the aging and families and counseling. Mother Sean.
Rosa and I have something very much in common. Neither one of us likes to be up front here. And I was so happy that she forgot. But I do have my invocation. Heavenly Father, tonight we gather together to celebrate 100 years of generosity to thousands of young men and women who have participated in the Bristol programs of the Boys and Girls Club, many of whom are now generous adults, giving the fruits of their lives to our communities. We ask you to give your blessings on all who are here this evening. Tonight we also honor the humanitarian services of our honorees and offer our gratitude to you for them and their good and generous hearts. We ask you to bless all of us as we participate in this dinner and award ceremony. May the love of all in this room spread out to enrich the many needy and spiritually distressed persons in our society, so that goodness may flow out to many more. May the spirit of your love unite us, our families, and our communities. Amen.
The next portion, we're going to give out our Jeremiah Milbank Awards. And in order to tell you a little bit more about Jeremiah Milbank, Roxanne is going to speak. And Roxanne, please.
Just a word about Jerry Milbank. He was recruited to the board of Boys and Girls Clubs of America in the back of a limousine in Midtown Manhattan. And the other person in the back seat of that car was President Herbert Hoover, who said, Mr. Milbank, it's about time you get involved in the Boys and Girls Club movement. Your father was involved, and now it's your turn. And for more than 50 years, Jerry Milbank tirelessly worked on behalf of Boys and Girls Clubs of America and local clubs. He was on the board of the Greenwich Club as well. He gave generously, he was relentless in his solicitation, and he believed more than anyone that Boys and Girls Clubs save lives, and believed that the generosity of America would prevail in order to support our clubs in good times and in bad. And he was right. And we named an award after Jerry. The award is the Jeremiah Milbank Award. It is for individuals who give $10,000 or more of unrestricted gifts to their clubs, become members of the Jeremiah Milbank Society. And tonight we're honored to induct a few people in the Jeremiah Milbank Society.
Now, in my ever-vigilant obsession with detail, I forgot all the awards back at the club. So we'll just basically ask the people to come up, and Roxanne and I will give you congratulations. And then you'll get it next year if you're inducted again. The first award that I'm going to give, that we're going to give, is to Dr. Catherine Ill. And I have to tell you something about Catherine. I met Catherine about 30 years ago when she worked in a hospital for people with some very serious illnesses. And Catherine at that time had the reputation for being the ladies' lady, for the woman who was totally dedicated to human beings who had difficult circumstances around them, and for taking her job with seriousness and passion. And Catherine has not lost that passion for helping people to this very day. And the one story I'll tell you, when Catherine came up to me, and I love this one, we're about to go into a finance meeting. And Catherine comes up to me and says, you know, Michael, I had an epiphany yesterday. And I'm thinking, all right, that's nice. And she says, I had an epiphany in the bathtub. And I'm thinking, this is probably a little more than I want to know about one of my board members. But she said, my epiphany was that I feel I should direct almost all of my charitable giving to this organization. And I want to go and ask the rest of the board of members to do the same. Catherine is one of those people who I asked once to give, and she keeps on giving. She's a wonderful lady. She remains to be one of our greatest supporters, and I'm proud to have her as the chairman of our development committee. Catherine? Catherine's not here? Oh. Well, actually, I forgot to tell you, when she said I had an epiphany in my bathtub, I said, Catherine, do you think I could borrow your bathtub so I can put a few more people into it? And maybe she's got someone in there now. The next person I want to thank is a person who's been a steadfast pillar within our community, and that's Wally Barnes. You know, I didn't know Wally very well until I got into this position. And the first time I met Wally, it was like I was doing the first ask because I was going to raise some money for the club. And Wally gave me a respectable donation, but I kind of thought that Wally might give more. And Wally has sat back and said to me, you know, Michael, I'm going to sit and watch and see what happens. Since that time, Wally has given us countless donations. I have never asked Wally for another penny from that first day. And he is a person who absolutely supports our mission. He supports what we're doing, and he supports it with not only his resources, but with his love and his passion. I've grown to love and respect Wally Barnes because I think he's just the greatest gentleman in the world. And the fact that he keeps on giving when he's not even asked shows his commitment to the children of our community. I ask Wally to please come up. And then our final Jeremiah Milbank recipient for this evening, because he was our first Jeremiah Milbank recipient ever. Last year, Bob Fiandella received the Jeremiah Milbank Award. That's the first time. There are lots of people who have been very good to our organization, but this award is relatively new. When I came into the club, Bob had given money unasked to start what was called back then a stabilization fund for our organization because we were having some difficult times. And Bob also, from that point, there's a common theme here with these people, has kept on giving to our organization. And Bob's greatest passion, he loves the whole organization, but his greatest passion are for those in the outreach program, for those kids who are in greatest needs. Not only does he give his finances to support programs, he buys computers for the kids at Cambridge Park, he buys computers every year for kids who are going on to college, and he just keeps on giving and giving and giving. And I can honestly say that my relationship with Bob, not only do I turn to him for assistance, for resources, although I seldom have to turn because he just shows up and does it, but he's also become a confidant, a person that I can turn to and trust and know that when we're trying to mold the future of this organization, he's going to be there every step of the way. And I'm very proud to again present another Jeremiah Milbank Award to Bob Fiandella. Bob.
I will now like to introduce one of our club members, Amanda Sumner, who will be introducing Roxanne Spillett with a wonderful gift for her attendance tonight.
On behalf of the Boys and Girls Club Board of Directors, staff, members, and supporters, we would like to present you with a small token of our appreciation for attending tonight's dinner and for your advocacy for children throughout our nation. Thank you.
They say that history has a tendency to repeat itself. As we've seen 100 years ago, we had a female president, and now 100 years later, we have another female president. I would like to introduce Kit Ford, the chair of the Bristol Boys and Girls Club and Family Center Board of Directors.
Good evening. On behalf of the Board of Directors, I welcome you, and I can't tell you how thrilled we are to have so many of you here tonight to help us celebrate this very special birthday and humanitarian dinner. All of us in this room have a common goal. We're all here for the kids. We might all have different parts of doing that, but it's all about the kids. And we need all of you. Through our homework programs, our sports, leadership opportunities, glimpses into the future careers, to name a few, we're able to allow our kids to explore in a safe, nurturing environment. This summer, I was honored to be at a graduation at Bristol Tech. We had a program called Career Connections, and these were juniors in high school, and there were about 17 kids. And they had the opportunity to spend several weeks exploring careers such as food preparation, manufacturing, and other technical studies. This was such a collaboration with a lot of people. It was the Chamber, Capital Workforce Partners, the Board of Ed, NESMA, the Roberts Foundation, the Fiandella Foundation, and the Barnes Foundation, and our club. I think that's an amazing group to make this happen. And who knows how many of those kids will enter those careers because they had that opportunity. It's just great. This is just one example out of so many of how all of you helped make this work. I hope you will continue to support us in the future so we can have another 100 years of service to the youth. Thank you. Now I'd like to call John Letizia. He's going to talk about the history of the humanitarian dinner. John is one of our treasurers, too.
Good evening. Thank you, Kit. Kit asked me to speak about the humanitarian dinner history, the awards. So that's my assignment for this evening. About 24 years ago, when I was just out of college and got appointed to the Boys and Girls Club board, that was a joke 24 years ago. The chairman of the board at the time asked me to form a committee to try to plan a signature event for the Boys Club. And so we got around, we had several meetings, and a lot of discussion and debate about what we should do. So we established 3 goals, really. The number 1 goal, what we all thought, was that there were many deserving individuals in the Bristol community that perform humanitarian deeds almost on a daily basis, and there was really no event or function to honor those people. So that was our number 1 goal. We thought we should be the group to honor these individuals. A number 2 goal was, frankly, in those days, the Boys and Girls Club didn't enjoy a great reputation, so we wanted to promote the image of the Boys and Girls Club. And the 3rd goal was to have a fundraiser. So with those 3 goals in mind, we started talking about humanitarians. So again, we decided that we would, on an annual basis, honor deserving members of our community who have been active in volunteer work for many years. Our award, we decided, would recognize individuals who who have demonstrated outstanding dedication and accomplishments in humanitarian service within the Bristol community. These individuals will have made long-time commitments to helping others and performing good deeds. They would have all made Bristol a better place to live and to raise a family. We always remembered that the main criteria for receiving this award was that the humanitarian deeds of the community service would be as a volunteer and not a part of somebody's job. We are proud to honor tonight's three individuals, the recipients, our way of thanking them for their many years of service. Congratulations to Brian Bowerman and Jackie Bracco and Bob Chandella. After we had done this about 5 years, we started another debate by saying, well, if we honor 2 or 3 individuals every year, how much longer can we go on? How many people in Bristol really are very active in volunteerism? Everybody's busy raising families and, you know, they have their own lives to lead. Well, I'm very proud to say, because this has basically been my baby, during the past 24 years, we have honored 72 individuals for their volunteer work and humanitarian service. And believe me, we have a long list of potential honorees that we call through every year, and there will never be a shortage. We'll be celebrating our 200th anniversary, and we'll still be having this award because there's so many dedicated Bristol people in our community. Those 72 people, as I said, basically represent Bristol's Hall of Fame of community service. Some of the previous recipients are here tonight, and I'd just like to take a minute to acknowledge them before we present this year's awards. And I left my list, because Kit caught me off guard. I left my list at my table, but I remember most of them. I think Rita Gerzanik is here. Steve Lazowicz is here. Gene Radcliffe is here. Wally Barnes, Jerry Betts, and Whit Betts. John Smith, Jack Driscoll, and Mark Blum. And I think I have them all. And I think I got one along the way also. So maybe all those people can just stand so that we can just acknowledge you. And I did miss Jack's hand. Sorry, Jack. Thank you.
Don't go away, John. We wanted to take this opportunity to thank John for 24 years. Well, actually, it was 23. The year we made him kind of retire for a year, the year we presented John, and it was a surprise for him because he wouldn't have allowed that to happen. John, we appreciate everything that you've done, and we look forward to the future. We have a lot of dignitaries with us tonight. Of course, we're just thrilled that Roxanne could join us. That was the icing on the cake when we found out she was coming. Thank you, Roxanne. City Treasurer William Vietz. Councilman Kevin McCauley. He's also an active member of the OMs, and he'll be coming up a little later to give greetings from the city. Councilman Craig Minor. Councilman Ken Copain. Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Philip Streifer. Deputy Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Susan Moreau. Bristol Housing Authority Executive Director, Mitzi Rowe. Bristol Police Chief, John Divinier. Walter Sisko, President of the OMs. And many representatives from the Boys and Girls Clubs of America and the other Boys and Girls Clubs throughout the state joined us this evening. Thank you very much. And now I'd like Kevin to come and give greetings from the city. Unfortunately, Mayor Art Ward couldn't be with us tonight.
Thank you, Kip. Greetings. I do have a prepared statement, just so I didn't miss it. It was a little last minute, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention one thing or clarify one thing. The OMs stand for older members, not old members. I was in my early 20s when I joined, and you'll see them later in the evening in our program coming up here to sing. None of them look old. We are older members, Alumni Association. We're the alumni of the group, of the club. Most of us members as children growing up through the club, and now we give back through the Older Members Association. And don't miss the older member, the OM show, our annual show, coming in April. I have to get that plug in. I am representing our mayor, our ward tonight, and on behalf of the city, I welcome you to tonight's event. I feel especially privileged to represent my fellow elected officials tonight, since I had an extremely beneficial and lasting relationship with the club, from my days as a club member to now being a proud member of the OMs, older members. Much has changed over the last 100 years, but the club has been a constant and excuse me, and will be continuing that service in a vital role for the young people of Bristol and the surrounding community. Looking over at our 100 Heroes panels, I'd like to think that there are generations of club members, supporters, and staff no longer with us that are proudly looking down on us and guiding us in our next century of service. Congratulations to all of the honorees tonight, and a special treat beyond that, I also have been asked to give a presentation of some citations proclamations that had come from the Attorney General of the state, Richard Blumenthal, and a proud also fellow Marine. He and I have associated and shared in some of these citations in the past in my years of service to the city. And tonight, to all the recipients, I will read one of them. I will lay these out as well. If anyone would like to come see them, especially the recipients, please come pick up these later in the event. On behalf of the state of Connecticut and Attorney General Richard Blumenthal, this is official citation. Be it hereby known to all that the Attorney General offers his sincerest congratulations to the recipients of the Humanitarian Dinner Award honorees in recognition of their enduring and profoundly significant contributions and dedication to the Bristol community and the state of Connecticut, as celebrated by the Boys and Girls Club Bristol 2008 Humanitarian Award. The Attorney General extends his very best wishes on this significant occasion and expresses his hope for their hope for continued success. Given this 27th day of October 2008 by Richard Blumenthal, Attorney General, signed as well by his hand. And this is the citation that will be presented to them. So if you have the occasion to come up and see this and view this, or see any of the recipients, you can ask them and receive. We didn't forget this one. Sorry, Mike. And thank you again. It has been an honor, and this is an exceptional testament to this club and the organizations with the Family Center as well, to see you all here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. As you know, there are so many people and organizations that help us in such a big way. We'd like to list a few who have gone above and beyond the call of duty in assisting the club. The Clinton Roberts Foundation, they're always there when we need them the most. We're so happy that they believe in us. The Fiandella Charity Golf Tournament and Bob Fiandella Jr., they've chosen to make us the recipients of the profits. Both George Carpenter and D'Amato Construction Company, who both very quietly taken care of things that needed doing. You may not have even known. They just came in, did it, and then they were gone. Crown Oil, and City True Value for being so supportive in all that we do in our various programs. They just step up and say, hey, can we help out by doing whatever, and then it's done. Staples, who this year supplied us with boxes and boxes of school supplies, just to name one example of what they do. The 99 Restaurant, who has stepped up since the moment they came to town. In addition to everything else they do, they're with us for all of Family Weekend, rain or shine, helping us raise funds with their famous chowder and other goodies. Last but not least are the OMs, who are always there for us with both money and physical labor. Often when you walk into the club, you see one of them there fixing something, painting, whatever needs doing, they do. Now I'd like to call up Maury Libero, the 1958 Youth of the Year. I'm going to be punished for that, I know.
First thing I'd like to say is this is an honor for me to get up here. Mike Setchapar asked me to represent the OMs, and what an honor to sit next to the 2008 Boyd of the Year and the 2005 Girl of the Year, and with Roxanne at our table. I mean, it can't get any better than this. But I'm so proud, like, to be an OM. I get very emotional with it, and I'm glad to see Chief Divonair here, because a police chief in Bristol, Chief Dobson, started the OMs. I guess years back, when you were 18 years old, you had to get out of the boys club, and Chief Dobson got a bunch of kids, and they wanted to stay focused with the club, so he started an older members association. So that's how we came about, and after 85 years, we're still here. But you look at the back of the room and you see all these 100 heroes. Like Mike Setchapar called me and says, I want you to get up to say a few words. You only have 1 minute. So I says, wow, 100 heroes, I got 1 minute to talk. So that didn't go off very good. So I wrote up a speech, and I said it to my wife. She says, that's 25 minutes. So I said, that can't work. And John Letizia comes up to me, he says, tells me what to say. Ellen Zappa slips me a note, tells me what to say. So I said, boy, I'm confused. I said, what words could I say to honor these 100 heroes? So, I'm all mixed up. But the words, the OMs, I went to the OM meeting, I told them my problem, and we decided there's not any word in the English language that could do any justice for all these 100 heroes that supported our club. So the only thing we like to say on behalf of the OMs and to honor these 100 heroes and everyone here tonight is thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Maury. Now enjoy your dinner, and we'll be back in a little while.
I mean, the club was always there for me, bringing me opportunities that I wouldn't have otherwise. And one thing I will always remember are the relationships I created at the club, especially Jeremiah, who quickly became my father figure in my life. Taught me right from wrong, along with my mother, of course. And I threw my first football there, played baseball on horrible fields that thankfully will be renovated now. And thankfully now I'm at Trinity College playing football, and it's all because of the Boys and Girls Club. So thank you. At this moment, I would like to introduce Linda Manarino. She's a member of the Humanitarian Dinner Committee to make the Special Service Award presentation to the Women and Girls Fund at the Main Street Community Foundation.
just used up my 2 minutes. The Special Service Award started a few years ago to recognize the many groups and organizations that work tirelessly for the community, as do the humanitarian individuals being honored tonight. It's my pleasure to present this year's Special Service Award to the Women and Girls Fund at the Main Street Community Foundation. The Women and Girls Fund was started by a group of local women in response to a challenge by the Board of Directors of the Main Street Community Foundation, who believed that having a fund for women and girls was a good idea. In 2001, that idea became a reality as an advisory board was formed and the first fundraising event was held at Chicopee. In the first year, $5,000 in grants were awarded, and every year since then, that number has grown. In the last 7 years, over $118,000 has been given in grants by the Women and Girls Fund. Grants have been made to groups in Bristol, Burlington, Plainville, Plymouth, Terryville, Southington, and Wolcott, all in the effort to promote the ideal of giving females the tools they need to lead successful lives. With its endowment grown to over $250,000, the Women and Girls Fund has become a model for service and philanthropy in our community. I would like to ask Dawn Ledger to come forward to accept this award for the Women and Girls Fund. On behalf of the Boys and Girls Club and the members of the Humanitarian Dinner Committee, I would like to congratulate the Women and Girls Fund at the Main Street Community Foundation for the demonstrated leadership, vision, integrity, compassion, cooperation, and generosity of time and talent in their efforts to improve the lives and opportunities of women and girls.
Thank you, everybody. I know time is wasted, so I'm going to be quick. My name is Dawn Ledger, and I just completed a 2-year term as chair of the advisory board of the Women and Girls Fund. I'm very happy to accept this award on behalf of that advisory board, and we have several tables of members, and some of our members are scattered around, so I'd like to include them in our acceptance of this award. Our past chairs are also here, and I'd like to recognize them. Jean Radcliffe was the first chair of the advisory board from its inception. Catherine Weed served as chair for the next 3 years. And we're passing on the baton to our new chair, Patty Dunn, who just started her term this month. We would not be here without their dedication and leadership, and we certainly wouldn't have been able to give grants totaling $118,000 with all the hard work of this board and our many committee members. So I'd like to ask them if they would all stand and be recognized. We'd also like to acknowledge and congratulate the other award recipients. I was planning to give a big speech to acknowledge all of them, but I was told not to because I don't have any time, and no one would give me their minutes. We'd like to stop and congratulate the Bristol Boys and Girls Club for their 100 years of serving the Bristol community. We share your mission to help young people and lead them to be productive citizens. Over the years, the Women and Girls Fund has made several grants to support the work of the Boys and Girls Club and the Family Center. Our first grant to the Family Center supported a young entrepreneur program that aimed to give teen mothers some exposure to the business world. We also gave several grants to the Boys and Girls Club to support the wonderful Smart Girls program. And most recently, we funded a Girls Night Out program at the Family Center, which has presented a variety of activities for girls and their moms. We'd like to also recognize, in thanks, the staff and board of directors of the Main Street Community Foundation. Without their support, we'd just be an idea. With them, we've been able to make things happen in our community,
that will have long-term benefits for women and girls and their families. Thanks to Cheryl Dumont-Smith, Jerry Betts, and Susan Sadecki. In closing, I want to thank you for your recognition of our work and for your support of programs that help females achieve their dreams. Congratulations to the Bristol Boys and Girls Club and the Family Center on this great achievement. We hope you'll be here for another 100 years to support the youth and families of the greater Bristol community, and we hope that we'll be here with you. Thank you.
Next, I would like to introduce Scott Fournier, Boys and Girls Club board member and member of the Humanitarian Dinner Committee, to introduce the Oliver Goudreau Award.
Good evening. I'm here to answer the question, who is Oliver Goudreau and why did he get an award? The first recipient of the Boys and Girls Club Lifetime Service Award was Oliver Goudreau. He was 12 years old when he joined the club back in 1915. He became a member of the Older Members Association when it was formed in 1923. And he actively was involved with the club for over 80 years. He was the gold standard for volunteerism. This award bears his name because he epitomizes unselfish commitment and time and energy to this organization. He felt that the Boys Club was the best organization in the world because it keeps kids off the street and out of mischief. I found it very interesting that Ollie's wife, Blanche, was also very involved in the Boys Club. Blanche was a member of the Women's Keystone Auxiliary for over 40 years. They must have been quite a team. To volunteer their time while raising a family, working at New Departure, it must have been very demanding, to say the least. Just last night, my wife and I were there at dinner. She said, "Do you want dinner?" I said, "What are my choices?" And she said, "Yes or no." It's great teamwork, great teamwork. Blanche obviously shared her husband's dedication to organizing, to helping this organization provide a positive place for kids. The Bristol Boys and Girls Club has always been. This award is not given for any other reason other than its recipients have earned it by going above and beyond the call of duty. Tonight, past recipients have joined us to celebrate the Boys and Girls Club's century of service to the youth of Bristol. I'd like to call some names, and I hope you please stand to be recognized when we call your name so we can thank you again. Tonight, we have Maury and Patricia Rivero in the audience. Jerry Mackey, John Warner, and Fran and Lou Beeland. Thank you very much. Tonight, another husband and wife team follows in the Goudreau's footsteps. The Goudreaus were able to put together about 120 years of service. The next couple have over 40 years, so they have a little bit to go. I'd like to congratulate Paul and Ruth Del Monte. This couple found the Boys and Girls Club an excellent way to give back to their community. You can read their numerous accomplishments in the program. It's easy to see that the Del Montes, just as Ollie and Blanche Goudreau, care very much about this organization and the children they serve. Now that they're both retired, they probably can spend even more time helping our organization. I'd like to call to the podium Paul and Ruth Del Monte.
Thank you. We are very
very much appreciative of this award. We both feel very honored to receive this and are also very humbled by it. For this, we wanted to find a way to give something back and do something worthwhile, so we started out by joining a couple of groups.
So I joined the older members,
And I joined the Keystone, the Women's Auxiliary of the Bristol Boys and Girls Club.
and through the years, we met all kinds of new people. We've made a lot of new friends. We worked on all kinds of projects. And through the whole process, we've just had a lot of fun. The work that we did, trying to sell chances for gift baskets, building sets for the show, participating in the show itself, being on stage sometimes, and sometimes being a little silly. We had a ball. It was just fantastic. We really enjoyed ourselves. And the best part of that was all of those things that we did resulted in some really substantial help to the club and to the kids. And that's really what's most important. And we're really glad that we were part of that, and we're glad that we were in a position to do that. Thank you very much.
Now I would like to introduce Jack Driscoll, Senior Vice President at Farmington Savings Bank and a member of the Humanitarian Dinner Committee, to make the first Humanitarian Award presentation to Brian Bauer.
Good evening. So it's a pleasure to be here, and I just want to say congratulations to all of the award winners tonight. There's some great people there. I think I know most of them, and you all deserve it. I have the honor to award the first humanitarian award tonight to Brian Bowerman, who I've known and worked with for over 15 years. Brian was born and raised in Bristol, and he was a member of the Bristol Boys Club during his early years. Some say it was that time at the club that helped mold him into the great community leader he is today. And of course, his family helped. Brian is the type of person who serves on boards and committees, not to round out his resume, but to give back to the communities in which he lives and works. The most of the organizations, Brian ends up either chairing the boards or the committees. As Winston Churchill once said, you make a living by getting what you get, but you make a life by what you give. This is Brian's life, volunteering. Brian is currently the chairman of the board of the Main Street Community Foundation and is the immediate past president of the Wheeler Clinic board. Brian was instrumental in having Farmington Savings Bank be the title sponsor for the Northwest Regional Special Olympics at Eastern High School in 2004, which the bank is still sponsoring today. In 2006, Brian was the walk chairman for Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation at Rensselaer Field, and he encouraged over 140 of the bank employees and members of their family to walk. We raised over $140,000 for JDRF. There are many organizations through the years that have benefited from Brian's involvement, from chairing the Farmington Library Building Fund to the Southington YMCA directors. There are many others too numerous to list. Brian retired as chairman, president, and CEO of Farmington Savings Bank in June. And while he's going to be working on lowering his handicap, I'm sure that we'll see him raising the awareness of volunteering in our communities. So I'm very proud to be able to present the Humanitarian Award to Brian Bauer.
I'm going to be brief. One of the reasons that we support activities in our communities that we have branches is that it fosters the community to think about their future. The Banks Foundation, which was started about 10 years ago, has in the past 10 years accumulated $3 million for good causes here. I have a great staff that has a serious amount of effort in various organizations, well over 50, and we encourage that also. So on behalf of the Farmington Savings Bank, its board of directors and employees, thank you very much.
Now I'd like to introduce John Smith of Valley Bank and a member of the board of directors for their introduction for the second humanitarian award to Jackie Bracco.
There's this other step here. I don't normally see the world from this vantage point. I believe it was about 3 years ago when I had the honor of presenting Jackie Bracco with the Eve Bartlett Barnes Distinguished Service Award from the Bristol Chamber of Commerce. And if memory serves me correctly, I discovered that there was something in Jackie's lineage which had a connection with one of the New York notorious families. So I have selected my comments very carefully. To begin with, let me offer my congratulations to all of the award recipients this evening, especially to Bob and Brian, the other two humanitarian award recipients. But I must state unequivocally that in that regard, Jackie, you are clearly the rose between two thorns. The bio in the program presents a very brief summary of Jackie's accomplishments in both the world of business and the world of community service. But there is so much more. Jackie has always been one who was content to work behind the scenes to find a solution to an issue, to convince others to lend support to a particular cause, to work on behalf of others to achieve a greater good. Her actions lend credence to the saying that the best way to escape a problem is to solve it. On the surface, Jackie may appear to be quiet and unassuming. Jackie has mastered the skill of listening. She takes time to digest the comments of others, and then because of her insight, is able to offer a course of action which in most cases results in a successful resolution to an issue. Personally, I have been fortunate to have worked closely with Jackie on several occasions, most recently in her position as the chair of the Tungus Community College Foundation Scholarship Committee. Her commitment to the scholarship function is unsurpassed. She is passionate about securing the funds necessary to allow all those in need to attend the college, and believe me, the need grows greater and greater each year. While working with her at the Chamber, I have witnessed her quiet leadership skills as she shepherds projects to fruition. The same is true with her involvement at the Boys and Girls Club and Family Center of Bristol, where she continues to demonstrate her commitment to make certain that the organization is offering and will continue to offer outstanding service to all youth. Thomas Carlyle once wrote, "The degree of vision that dwells in a man is the correct measure of the man." I guess if he were writing it today, he would have used person instead of man. At any rate, in Jackie's case, her vision exceeds the scale. She has earned the respect and admiration from all her associates. It's my distinct pleasure to present the 2008 Humanitarian Award to Jackie Bracco.
Thank you, Boys and Girls Club and Family Center. I am sincerely honored with this recognition and especially proud to be part of the 100th anniversary of this incredible organization. I would first like to take this opportunity to congratulate all my fellow recipients. When John Leone first called me to ask if I would represent ESPN on the Connecticut Youth and Family Alliance, I was happy to do so. What I did not realize was that it would be the beginning of an incredible experience. I have been fortunate to see business and community come together to physically participate in brightening facilities of the Boys and Girls Club and Family Center buildings. The cooperation and enthusiasm we witnessed with local business getting together to assist with painting, drawing, cleaning, and planting was extraordinary. I have always had a strong commitment to Bristol and felt that this was an opportunity for me to give back. I have never expected to receive more than I have given. I know we all will continue to do great things together for the children and young adults of Bristol and surrounding communities. I also know that I am not the only one that realizes the smart, caring, and committed individuals that are part of this community. These individuals amaze me every day with their passion and commitment. Individuals that were once members of this organization as children have grown to be pillars of the Bristol community. They are too many to mention by name, but you know who they are. I would like to offer special thanks to ESPN for supporting the youth of Bristol, for without them I might not be standing here to receive this award. Thank you all for this wonderful experience.
Now I'd like to introduce John Leone for the introduction of the third humanitarian award to Bob Candela.
First, I also would want to congratulate both Brian and Jackie on their awards, certainly well-deserving humanitarians in our community. Bob Fiandella represents the best of Bristol. The retired chairman, president, and chief executive officer of Phoenix Home Life Insurance Company. Bob graduated from Providence College and UConn Law School. But what shaped Bob's character were his elementary and high school days. When he graduated valedictorian of his class, was a sports athlete in basketball, baseball, and soccer, and was a student council president in his senior years at St. Anthony's High School. What St. Anthony's did for Bob was give him the passion to lead and support his community. While Bob was working his way up the corporate ladder at Phoenix, he also spent time in Bristol with his wife Carolyn, raising their two sons, Robert and Jeffrey. Throughout the 70s, Bob was committed to helping his city by serving on the city council, being appointed to the Bristol Redevelopment Agency, serving on the city's retirement board. Bob also was equally involved in the late 70s and throughout the 80s in a number of civic organizations, including the president of the Northeast School PTO, pack master of the Boys Club Troop 29, and the vice president of the Midget Football League. Bob helped start and build the Edgewood Little League. He served as coach, manager, and president of the league. He also helped start the softball program, and he helped build Edgewood's Fieldhouse. What I remember best about Bob is how he helped the building of the E. Bartlett Giamatti Center, the Eastern Regional Little League Center in his hometown of Bristol, Connecticut. He chaired the committee responsible to raise the funds needed to build the complex. Bob utilized his government and corporate experience to help raise $2.2 million needed to start the project. He was also appointed by Little League Baseball on the Challenger Division Task Force, responsible in developing for the physical and mentally challenged youngsters programs. Bob helped his company, the Phoenix, to officially sponsor the 1995 Special Olympic Summer Games. In 1997, the Special Olympic World Games. He was also instrumental in getting CPTV to broadcast the Yukon Women's Husky basketball games before it was the thing to do. Of course, we did have a Bristol kid on that team, right, Bob? Yeah. Laura Lishnes. Bob has also served on numerous corporate boards, including the Barnes Group, Webster Financial, Loctite Corporation, and was named the Hartford Kurtz Business Leader of the Year and the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year in 1977. Bob was the driving force leading for Adrian's Landing $750 million Hartford Revitalization Project, which broke ground in the fall of 2001. This award for an exceptional accomplishments goes to a most exceptional person. This year's humanitarian award goes to Robert Bob Fiandella, an individual who had a lifetime of community service, and Bob truly represents the best in Bristol. Come on up and accept your award.
John, thank you very much. I don't think you can understand how special this award is to me. I've been very fortunate to grow up in Bristol, to still live in Bristol my whole life. I'm very fortunate with the family that I have that is here. And my life has taken me to a lot of places. You can take the boy out of Bristol. You just can't take Bristol out of the boy. I've always been a part of this community, and when your community says thank you, that's a very special gift. And so from the bottom of my heart, I thank all of you. I do have a couple of things to say, though. It's very hard to take a lawyer away from a microphone. We are very fortunate to have the club in Bristol. It's a very special organization. And when you see two young people who preside it, there ought to be no doubt in anybody's mind that the mission of the club is worthwhile and needs to continue for another 100 years. And the challenge in front of us is going to be much more daunting than it was in the past, because the waters we're in are going to be a lot rockier. But we need all of you to help. And my commitment to you is if you'll be there, I'll be there along with you. Thank you very much, and let's hope and pray that the club is here another 100 years from now. Thank you very much.
I'll be there, Bob, don't worry. At this time, I would like to thank everyone for attending on behalf of the club and its members. I would like to ask Derek Smith from the Cambridge Park Unit to join me on stage. All yours, sir.
Let's be thankful for this day and for the Boys and Girls Club, where we learn and play. Let's be thankful, let's be glad for our friends and the things that we have. Let's give thanks for you and me and for our club and family.
Thank you, Derek. I'd like to ask all the older members to come to the podium for the closing song. In honor of the OM's 85th anniversary, they will conclude the program with the singing of the OM song. The lyrics are in the program book, and I invite you to sing along.
If I may have a moment, this is the OM, the marching Boys and Girls Club marching song. It had been changed when we made the association with Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Can we just 1 second? You'll see in the back of your programs, we do have the words to the marching song, and you can sing along if you'd like. One thing very quickly. Ali Goudreau. Ali is known to all of us, not from Oliver Goudreau. Ali was our main cheerleader with this song every year up on stage with the OM show. And we do honor to him in a portion of this with a rah, rah, rah with his cheer. Charlie Soto and myself usually take that honor at our OM show. And tonight, Charlie will be doing that. I'll just be helping direct so we can get this out of the word. So thank you. And Ali was that much of a part of our organization. And he still instills in us all. So thank you very much.
Lastly, I would like to ask all the recipients to please come forward to take a group picture. Thank you very much. Enjoy your night.